Hi everyone, we're back at it again. This time looking at nested branching and input, still part of our Learn Python 2 unit. So this is supposed to build on what we learned last time, which was called conditionals and strings. So here is how we deal with strings. Conditionals are like things that are if and else. So if and else's require conditionals like equal to, greater than, all those types of things are important so that the code is searching for some event that's true or not, and then it triggers other things. So we want to be able to take a look at specialized if and else structures called nested ifs. So when you have an if or an else or an elif and all this stuff inside of another if statement, we call that nested. And this indentation here is key. So here, after this and this, that's kind of important, that it still follows the same structure, that this if and else and this if and else are equally indented. And these lines of code are only true if this line of code is correct. So what we saw here I'm going to go to repel it now, is by clicking on this line that's here in the presentation, as well as in the assignment here, you get my repel it. And so this is absolutely the way that you should be running the code, or copy and paste and do it yourself, whatever you want. But let's just go over some of the code already. So the name of the function is food ID. So when I run it and I type in food ID, I need to put in one of these inputs. So if I type in food, I get an error, right? If you take a look at all this stuff here, everything that we're dealing with is strings. So this is building on what we already know about strings. So, but here we're using a new function called in. So anything that's special in Python in terms of operators or commands are highlighted blue. So this define makes the function, this if, these else's, those are all conditionals, but this one here, and also return, but in is different, right? So it's kind of obvious. And one thing I like about Python is that some of its commands are obvious, right? So the in command is basically saying if food is inside the list fruits, then line 14 through 17 have the ability to execute. Otherwise, it goes into else. So this is really checking to see if the food is a fruit, we could either check to see if it's citrus or not. Otherwise, it has to be starchy, and you would have the opportunity for 19 and 22 to be run or returned. So back up here. So food ID, food didn't work. But if you take a look from what our lists are, if we tried apple, still nothing, right? So what do I need to do? I actually need to pass it a string. Okay, so food ID given apple gives us the command or the output, not citrus fruit. And you notice not citrus fruit are in quotation marks, single quotation marks, which means that it's a string, right? So yes, this is from line 17. So let's understand why it did it. So is food and fruits? So apple, yes, is there. So this if statement is true. So next, it's going in a specific order. So line 14, if food isn't citrus, it's not, therefore I went to the else statement. So that's kind of how you do food ID. That's A, bananas are starchy, and B and C, especially B, is kind of try it out. I want you to see what you can do with that. I'll be able to answer those questions during office hours if you're not able to do that. The next part 2, guess once using raw input. So raw input, just let me just show you this, right? These are both of these programs on Repellent. So going back to the assignment. So this is guess once. Here, the stuff in green is sample inputs and outputs. So I hope you're okay with the way I formatted the assignment. I wanted the code to be here and the questions to be on the other side. I know it's different, but hopefully it's okay with you because I spent way too long reformatting this because it was really annoying. Anyways, okay, line 8. Why don't we look at here? Line 8, print my number is mod S. So, hey, that's why we learned this using the percent operator for printing stuff. So let's try this. To run anything, you need to push run. Note we have the import random as one of the first 2 lines. Sometimes you'll get an error if you don't import special modules like the random module up first. So now I'm going to type in guess once. And if you notice here, there is no input. So to execute this function, you don't put anything inside. Okay, I have a number between 1 and 4 inclusive, guess. This guess is this guess. So I'm going to put in 3. Good guess. So what does that mean? Well, if guess is not equal to secret, it would print that. Else, print good guess. Well, I got on the first try. Fantastic. If you're trying to debug it and try to figure out if this is working, you really need to have some test cases, which your Project of the Way stuff called it glass box testing. So let's go back here, and I'm going to put in some code here just to make sure I'm understanding what's going on. I have a question about this int stuff here. We'll talk about it in a second. I really want to know what the secret is beforehand. So, hey, let's do that. Print secret. So I really want you to feel comfortable just messing with this program. Okay, so let's run it. And type in guess once. 2. All right. So on the first time I executed this, I got it right. Now I don't want to get it right, so I'm going to get 1. Wrong. My number is 2. Okay, good. Now we got to see line 8 work. So if guess is not equal to secret, which it wasn't, it prints this out. So it makes sense that the variable secret, which was generated here from random.randint, remember we have to use the random dot syntax because we didn't say from random import randint. So that's why we have to, just like what we learned from the previous assignment for using the math functions, this refers to the module and that refers to the function. Anyways, so I wanted to know what the answer was so I could test it. Cool. I have a whole question based on why this int is here. And maybe you're like, oh, Mr. Rowe is being extra. But let's see what happens when we don't do it. Here's my little reminder, my comment to get that. I really like Repellent, how it, when I had the 2 parentheses there, it knew to, like there was a pair. So anyways, let's run it again. Okay, so let's do guess once. Okay, so 3. Let's do 3 so I can tell you about why we need to have that int there. Wrong, my number is 3. File that under what the hell. Okay, so how can that be wrong? So we have secret here. So when I type in secret, cool, nothing happened. So let's go back and see how I can get you to understand what's going on. So here, let's print type secret. So guess once. Type int. I have a number between 1 and 4, right? So secret is clearly an integer, right? So if I put in a 2, what am I doing wrong? Okay, now let's try this again. So instead of printing secret, what type of secret is, let's print in guess. Okay, so clearly I think you should be guessing that there's something wrong with guess. So here, let's try this again, guess once, open and close, 3. This is important. So all this stuff here, secret is an integer, guess is a string. So here, let's just prove, is 3 equal to 3? And the answer is false. And no, even if I got the guess correct, I would always get wrong my number is, no matter what, because they're two different data types. That's why this has to be there. And that's a lot of text. And there we go. So I have 2 sets of parentheses to make sure, that one and that one and that one and that one. I guess I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to hashtag that out. I don't need this anymore, so let's hashtag that out. And let's run it. And let's guess once. And so I put it back to. That's how you do question 1 and question 2 in your assignment. Question 3, why don't we take a little break and we'll talk about question 3 right after this.